Hi, y'all. Welcome and thanks for stopping by. For those who are new, I'm Renee with Coffee Crafts and Chaos, and I am so excited to participate today with my friend Nadia, who invited me to create a wreath for her Wreath Wednesday collection. For those of you who aren't familiar with Nadia, you have to go check her out. She is an amazing and beautiful crafter, and I am just certain that you will love her as much as I do. So today I created this winter themed wreath, and let's get started. The items that I used to create this winter wreath is a wired wreath frame from the Dollar Tree, 2 rolls of burlap, a plastic battery operated lantern, some glittered floral picks, a ornament star, metal star ornament, and deco mesh and a buffalo plaid ribbon. The first thing I did was wrap my wreath frame using my burlap roll. I just hot glued a little piece of the wire where I would start wrapping it, and then I just hot glued it down, and I wanted to wrap it a little bit at an angle so that way I didn't have many creases in this wreath and it would cover it nicely, kind of like overlapping it so the wire didn't show through. Now there's little pieces that poke out of my wreath. You could trim those. However, it was kind of nice because it held the burlap right in place for me. You could bend those in or cut them off, but they don't show when you're finished, and they actually did help to secure the burlap in place so I didn't have to glue as I went. Now at the end here, I just added a little bit of glue to the wire, held it down so it was nice and secure, and then trimmed that little tail piece off. Now starting with my second roll, I'm just going to continue where I left off, just trying to match it up exactly with the same direction of the burlap so that way I don't lose any space here. And I'm just going to continue to wrap it. Now if there are any threads coming off, you can just pull them or trim them so they don't, drive you crazy. And you don't want your burlap to unwrap. So I just kind of trimmed it, and now I'm continuing to wrap my wreath frame.
Can't stop thinking of those times.
Now as I'm coming to the end here, I'm just going to wrap it an extra time because I want it to be a little bit more durable right there at the top, because that's where I'm going to attach my bow and everything. So I'm just wrapping it one extra time there so it's a little bit thicker. Now to make the bow, I'm starting with, this is actually an extra piece of scrap burlap that I had, and I'm just going to use it to make a bow just by gluing the ends together there. Now if you have these little finger protectors, these are the best thing. Saves you from a lot of hot glue gun burns. So definitely you want to grab those next time you're at the Dollar Tree if you don't already have them. They come in a pack of 3. I have already lost the other 2, but I still have my one that I use all the time. So moving on, the next thing I did was the same thing as I did with the burlap, I'm going to do with my deco mesh, and I'm just going to get the idea of how long I want my bow's loop to be, and now I'm just going to hot glue the ends together to create my bow. Now I'm just going to make a farmhouse style bow using my buffalo plaid ribbon. This is not wired. You could always use wired ribbon. It'll give it a more of a finished look, but you know what? Without the wire is fine too, because it's going to make it very sweet and farmhouse looking. Just going to mess with the tails and the bow to get it to the right shape I want, and then I'm just going to cut the tails with my V shape to finish it off. And with that, all I do is fold it over and cut a slant outwards, and that's going to create that really cute V shape into it. Just finishes off that bow, trim any of the excess, and that's it. Now I'm just going to cinch my deco mesh to give it that shape. This reminds me of a Minnie Mouse bow, and I love it. Okay, so then I'm gonna do the same thing with the burlap, and then use a zip tie to go ahead and secure it nice and tight.
Waves and covered our feet. We shared each other's eyes to the
Okay, so now I'm just going to trim off the excess of that zip tie, and I'm going to hot glue my ribbon bow to the center. Of course, to finish my bow and to cover up where the zip tie would be showing through, just going to take some of my ribbon, fold it over so the ends are folded, and I'm just going to hot glue it carefully to the back to cover up that zip tie. This little lantern is my favorite. I'm just thinking of all of the cute and fun crafts you can make with these. I grabbed two and one is on my tiered tray right now. But anyways, I'm just going to take it apart. I'm going to remove that little winter scene from it, even though it is beautiful. If you want to keep it on there, that would go well with this theme as well. But I just decided to take it off so we could really see that little flickering light on the inside. And now I have my ornament from the Dollar Tree. I decided I'm going to use the silver star, and I'm going to remove that bell because, to be honest with you, I just could not get it to hang properly with the bell attached to the lantern. So go ahead and take that off. You want to make sure that your star is back in shape because I kind of messed with it. And now I'm just going to tie it with some string. That's that string that drove me crazy with the burlap. You could use any kind of twine, wire, thread, whatever you have on hand will be perfect. Just going to secure it with a knot and then a little drop of hot glue, which I'll tuck up into the star, and that'll be on the back side so you won't see it. Okay, so now I'm just trying to see where I want this to hang because I don't want the bottom of the lantern to touch the wreath. I want it to sit above it. So I'm just going to tie a knot up in my little ornament string to shorten it. And I'm going to use another zip tie to secure it to the top. And you can just weave it right through your burlap.
harder this time just to be around here. 'Cause I see you smile with every snowflake falling down. I remembered when we both held hands through this cold town. I just can't stop.
Okay, now to secure my bow to my wreath, I decided to attach it with a zip tie again. So I'm just going to weave it through the center of my bow, through the deco mesh, and in between my little ribbon. And now I'm just going to thread it through my other zip tie that I had to secure my ornament and lantern. I'm just going to attach it and tighten it, and now it's secure.
I miss you, girl. Let me count the ways we held each other at night in the middle of Main Street.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is add my wintry floral picks. I'm just going to trim them because they're a little bit too long and I don't want the stems to stick out and be visible behind the bow. So I'm just going to cut them using my wire pliers, and then I'm just going to tuck it underneath my ribbon. I'll secure them with a little bit of hot glue, and also for extra secure measures, I'll use another zip tie. And of course, I'm going to do the same thing on both sides on both of my winter picks. Now for the zip tie, I wanted to conceal it behind the bow so you don't see it when you're looking at the wreath. So I just put it up at the top right underneath it. Just going to weave it through and then tighten to secure it. And then I'll trim off that excess.
And I saw you smile with every snowflake falling down.
Now I took my last and final zip tie and created a loop going behind that bow and through the wire, through the burlap, to create a hook so I could hang my new winter wreath on my door.
Is it snowing in Boston?
Okay, and now my wreath is hung on my door, and I just love the way that this glitter sparkles in the sunlight. I think it's such a fun winter wreath, and of course, its true moment of beauty is at night when that lantern can glow, and I just think it gives off such a nice, cozy, wintry vibe, and I just had so much fun making this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you'll make one yourself. And thank you so much, Nadia, for having me and inspiring me to make a wreath, which is not something that I'm used to doing. I had so much fun. Have a wonderful and blessed, healthy and safe new year. Bye. Music by the wonderfully talented my cousin, Daniel Taylor. Please go check him out. I'll include links for DIY with Nadia and Daniel Taylor down below.